What's up, party people, and welcome to Stoniecast number 153 and season 5, episode 15 of Thoughts and Hunches, making money in bunches and sucker punches. It's your boy Stony coming back at you for the 153rd time. You gotta forgive my voice, it's a little scratchy right now, but I'd like to welcome all of my fellow scumbags, lowlife, shady characters, hoodlums, scoundrels, heathens, altar boys with unhealthy relationships with their priests, hustlers, wise guys, people that give themselves nicknames and speak in the third person, unacceptable. Foul-mouthed, raging alcoholics, MLB players that have got into a fight with Bryce Harper, you know who you are, cheats, disasters that take pride in a $4 profit on the WNBA, also unacceptable. Gangsters, fienders with abusive language, and degenerates. I mean, let's face it, anybody with a massive gambling problem. If you're new to this show, welcome aboard, right? That means you probably fit into one or a few of those categories, so welcome, because you're now one of us, gooba gobble, one of us, we accept him, one of us. Sorry, sometimes I get a little carried away. Hey, make sure to hit the subscribe button right down here in the lower right-hand corner. That way, ring that bell. You can get notified every time I put out a new video. To spread the word is also very easy. Just tell other degenerates and scumbags you know to go to YouTube and enter Thoughts and Hunches into the search bar. That'll take you right to my page, so that way you can get dialed into everything that I drop on you. Also, if you're new to the show and you don't know what's what with this channel, it's college and pro football winners, MLB playoff winners, which are over now, and college basketball winners. The books, they don't expect a guy like me to come out every single week, right, and deliver this many winners. I'm an outlier and I'm a disruptor. I'm like the Beastie Boys. I disrupt. Step inside the party, disrupt the whole scene. That's what I do. That's exactly what I do. I go to the mattresses every single week just for you, to get you to the window with a ticket to cash. Now, before I get to all the picks, as usual, I have some thoughts. Give me all you got! Listen, give me all you got! That's right, Al. Tell them. Here's the deal, right? I have to start with college football, which contains it. It's just a joy to behold right now, right? Despite the NCAA doing everything in their power to ruin it by allowing extra years of eligibility, the transfer portal, and ultimately paying students to play ball. I'm not going to be negative here, though, right? Because even as I disagreed with the expansion of the playoffs, it's actually been good for the sport, right? More teams are now involved than would have ultimately been involved if it were only a 6-game playoff like I suggested. Time will only tell, though, if any of these teams, say ranked 8 through 12, will be able to deliver in the playoffs. If not, then I can go back and say I was right. But right now, it's kind of exciting, right? I don't think they will, but it's possible. This week is one of my 5 most favorite weeks of the year. Feast week, baby. This is what it's all about, right? There's like nothing wrong with it, right? Before I even get to the joy that is college hoop tournaments in November, which I'm watching right now, Auburn versus Memphis. Go Auburn. One of my picks today. I have to get to college football, right? I'm going to start with rivalry week. That's what this is. It's fantastic rivalries with names like the Iron Bowl, the Old Oaken Bucket, the Palmetto Bowl, the Territorial Cup, the Commonwealth Cup, and clean old-fashioned hate are just a few of the great names for these rivalries that date back over 100 years. This is why I enjoy the college game more than the pro game. Growing up in the Bay Area, I saw the focus of professional sports with college sports in the background, right? And I could never understand why. I was one of the few who preferred NCAA football to the NFL and hugely preferred college basketball to the unwatchable NBA, which I still do. Now that I live in the South, I see the passion that isn't there on the left coast, right? Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Southerners don't care about pro sports, because they do. but not even close to being as passionate as they are about college sports, because that's what it's all about. Rivalry weekend is where you throw all the rankings out the window, and two schools, usually in the same state, absolutely hate each other. After the sheer amount of underdogs that delivered last week, and I had lots of them, you're welcome, there are more sure to come this week, guaranteed. Adding to that, there's college basketball's early season tournaments, which if you haven't been watching, they've been fantastic. I just got a text a little while ago from another degenerate and scumbag I know, Josh G., who said, Jesus, is this March? These games are incredible. He's right. If you haven't been watching, they've been fantastic, right? They really have. I can't tell you how many people I speak with that tell me, I don't get into college hoop until March. That's such a poor take. It's just lousy. Monday night, Memphis beat number 2 Connecticut in a thriller in overtime. Number 4 Auburn and number 5 Iowa State played another great game. Last night, number 6 Houston and number 9 Alabama played in overtime, while number 11 Duke and top-ranked Kansas got after it too. Just now, I just finished watching Gonzaga go down, right? Hey, you're welcome, by the way. That was one of my winners. It's just insane. These matchups have been as good as it gets this early in the season, right? Enjoy your turkey, enjoy your family, your friends, and be thankful for a weekend like this where you can not only enjoy the greatness of Feast Week, but you can also place a wager on it if you like, unless, of course, you live in a state run by a Democrat. Now, let's move on to Stoney's NCAA Top 12 rankings. I'll do this every week until the final 12 are selected, which is just a couple of weeks away. These are based on current AP rankings and the coaches poll and what I've seen on the field. So some teams may have higher rankings than others based on who they've beaten. Got to start at the top with Oregon, who's the only undefeated team left, and they're a well-deserved number 1. Number 2 is Ohio State, whose only loss was at Oregon, and we'll get them again next week in the Big Ten title game. Number 3 is Notre Dame, who has a bad loss, a really bad loss, but has steamrolled everyone else. Number 4 is Texas, who I have some major concerns with, right? Everyone else might have them at number 3, but not me, right? I got a lot. They got a big trip coming up this weekend to College Station, so, Anyway, Georgia's 5th, even with 2 losses, because they got the toughest schedule in the country, right? The next few teams are all playing well, but haven't really beaten anybody. SMU is 6th, because they're the best team in the ACC, period. Not Miami. Number 7 is Penn State, whose only loss was to Ohio State, but they haven't beaten anybody. Indiana's 8th, with their only loss to Ohio State, but they haven't beaten anybody, right? 9th is Miami, who has a bad loss and haven't beaten anybody. Boise State is 10th, who keeps on rolling, and their only loss was the top seed in Oregon. 11th is Tennessee, who benefited when A&M, Ole Miss, and Bama all lost on Saturday. And 12 is Clemson, who ekes out Arizona State for the last spot in my rankings. Okay, argue all you want, but I don't care. I know college football. That's what I've seen so far. Make sure to look out for my new list next week as we have rivalry weekend, and there will be more losses and more movement in my rankings. As for the week that was, and it was a good one, college hoops delivered again with a good but not great week. I was up all week but ended with a thud on Monday night with a 4-6 day. I still wound up 41, 31, and 1, which ain't bad at all in hoops and keeps moving the needle forward. College football was also solid as I hit on Thursday and Friday to have a 3-1 record heading into Saturday. 11-7 was nice for Saturday, but 14-8 for the weekend was fantastic as I just kept cashing tickets. But those numbers, they all pale in comparison to the beatdown I put on the books in the NFL. 10-3 is a savage beatdown with wins on Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday night for my best week of the year so far in the NFL by a mile. Now, I don't want to declare I'm back or I'm hot or whatever you want to call it, but I just want to remind you about my 5-week stretch last season where I hit over 76% of my bets in an historical stretch, right? Boy, it'd be nice to go on one of those stretches again, I tell you. And this is the same time of year that I did it last year, just saying. By the way, 10-3 last weekend is 77%. Add it all up, and it's yet another week in the black for my 6th straight winning week. So let's take a look at the updated numbers. Last week, 65 wins, 42 losses, 1 push, 60.75%. That's my second best week of the season. NCAA football regular season now, 164 wins, 110 losses, 1 push, 59.85%, getting closer to 60% as the season comes to a close. NFL regular season, 109, 75, and 6. 59.24%. That's a full 2-point jump after going 10-3. NCAA basketball regular season, now 126 wins, 91 losses, 1 push, 58.06%. That's the highest point of the season a month in. So overall, every pick that I've given you out of all 14 weeks, all 14 Stoniecast, I should say, 448 wins, 327 losses, and 8 pushes. That's 57.81%. Numbers rising everywhere can only mean one thing.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
That's exactly what I've been doing for you. Just remember that all of these picks are free. 100%. So for all the touts that give you 75 to 80% winners, come on. We all know that you're full of shit. Plus, you're charging for those picks.
Oh!
Yeah. Right? With me, just come to YouTube every week and I'll drop my plays on you for free. All right? Now, I started the new week, right, yesterday, right? And it wasn't great, right? 7-7, right? So, let's go. You ready? Away we go to episode number 15.
Just win, baby.
Just win, baby. Tell him, Al. I almost miss Al. All right. Anyway, after going 7-7 yesterday, I gave you 11 picks for the early starts today while I was at work. And now I'm going to get you the rest of tonight's picks, right? I'm already 3-0. That's a good start. I got Auburn here over Memphis. So, we'll see. See, the game just started. But a lot of good games. The Maui Invitational. The Lahaina Civic Center. God, I love it. All right, ready? Here we go. Tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern on the ACC Network. I like Cornell here on the road, catching 8.5 at Syracuse. 7:30 Eastern on ESPN2. I'm on another dog, and give me Davidson plus 16 over Arizona, who's lost 2 straight. 8:30 Eastern in Florida on FS1. I'm on Xavier plus 1.5 versus Michigan with a sprinkle on the money line. 9:30 Eastern in Lahaina at the Maui Invitational on ESPN2. Give me North Carolina -4 over Michigan State after they both lost yesterday. 9:30 Eastern on True TV in the finals of the Acrisure Holiday Invitational in Palm Springs. I like Washington State catching 4.5 versus SMU. 10 p.m. on TBS. Back in Las Vegas, I'll dance with Rutgers plus 11.5 versus 9th-ranked Alabama. Midnight Eastern tonight on ESPN2, back at the Maui Invitational. I like Connecticut to get back on track after losing 2 straight. UConn -7 versus Dayton. And finally, this game starts at 12:30 a.m. Eastern. That's 9:30 on the left coast, 11:30 for me, which means I won't even be watching it. I'm going to have to wake up to see how I did. The Players Era Festival back in Las Vegas. I think Houston wins, but Notre Dame covers the big number. Irish plus 17.5. So with the picks I put in last week's comment section for today, plus those I just gave you now, that's a total of 19 plays for today, right? That's going to get us rolling for sure, especially when you're off to a 3-0 start and Auburn's up 9 early. Make sure to check back tomorrow, Thanksgiving morning, because there's a lot of cool college action going on instead of the NFL. Tomorrow there is one Thanksgiving college football matchup, and it should be a good one in the American Athletic Conference at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN at Yulman Stadium in the Big Easy. As 18th ranked Tulane is a 13.5-point home favorite over 9-2 Memphis, and the total set at 55.5. Both schools are bowl eligible, and Tulane is already set to face off against Army in next week's American Athletic Conference Championship game. With both teams playing well and racking up numbers, I'm going to go two ways here with Memphis plus 13.5 and over 55.5. Moving on to the NFL, Week 13, beginning tomorrow on Thanksgiving Day, 12:30 Eastern on CBS at Ford Field in the Motor City. The 10-1 Lions are 10-point home favorites versus 4-7 Chicago, and the total's 48.5. The Lions are cruising right now, right? They've won 9 straight, and they look every bit like the best team in the NFL. The Bears are the Bears. Shitty as always and struggling.
Struggling.
Tell them, Joe.
Struggling.
One more time.
Struggling.
Thanks, Joe. It's exactly what we needed. Detroit has been a covering and an over machine this season, even though they didn't go over on Sunday. I'll take the Lions and lay the big number at home and take the over also. Game 2 on Thanksgiving Day is at 4:30 Eastern on Big Fox at Jerry World in Arlington, where the 4-7 Cowboys are 3-point home chalk versus the 2-9 Giants, and the total's 39.5. Dallas snapped their 5-game losing streak by taking out Washington on Sunday, while the train wreck that is the Giants have lost 6 straight. Tommy Cutlets is out. Daniel Jones was fired, basically, right? Who's their quarterback? I don't even know right now. Dallas beat the Giants back in September in a game where it was Dak Prescott versus Daniel Jones. They're both gone now, replaced by scrubs. Gotta pick someone. I'll take Dallas at home and lay the 3. The Turkey Day nightcap is at 8:20 Eastern on NBC at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, where the 8-3 Packers are 3.5-point home favorites versus the 5-6 Dolphins, and the total is 47. The Pack have won 5 out of 6, and they need to keep winning to keep pace with the Lions and Vikings in the NFC North, while the Finns have won 3 straight since Tua re-entered the fray. Green Bay's solid and will be playing in January, while Miami needs to keep on winning. I like the Finns here in an upset to close out Thanksgiving. Miami plus the 3.5 on the road and on the money line with a sprinkle.
Sprinkle me, man.
Attaboy 40. Attaboy. Sticking with the NFL on Black Friday at 3 Eastern on Amazon at racially insensitive Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. The 10-1 Chiefs are 12.5-point home favorites versus 2-9 Las Vegas, and the total's 42.5. KC's the worst 10-1 team in NFL history, and they're 0-5 against the number in their last 5. The Raiders, though, are a true mess. Gardner Minshew, who's bad, was their starter, but he's done for the year with a broken collarbone. Aiden O'Connell, he's also hurt. Looks like Desmond Ridder is going to get the start at Arrowhead. Ouch. No matter how bad the Raiders are, I can't take the Chefs until they prove they can cover a number. Raiders plus 12.5. 2-1 last Friday got me to 18-12 on the season on Fridays. And now we got a huge Black Friday in college football that starts at noon Eastern on ABC at Folsom Field in Boulder, where 23rd ranked Colorado is a 16.5-point home favorite versus 3-8 Oklahoma State, and the total 64.5. Colorado's hopes for a playoff berth took a hit in their loss to Kansas City last week. That was one of my winners, wasn't it, Al?
Hoo-ah!
Yeah, that's right. I think it was. Thank you. You're welcome, by the way. Okie State has now lost 8 in a row, and they're in a free fall. I think Colorado cruises while the networks continue to actively campaign and knob for Travis Hunter to win the Heisman, which he doesn't deserve. Colorado minus 16.5 in an easy one to start the day. Noon Eastern on CBS at Camp Randall Stadium in Madison. 5-6 Wisconsin's a 2-point home favorite versus 6-5 Minnesota, and the total set at 44.5 in the battle for Paul Bunyan's axe. Love it. This is the most played rivalry in the FBS with 133 meetings between the two schools, and is the longest uninterrupted rivalry with a streak of 117 times in the last 117 seasons. It's just crazy. After all those meetings, Wisconsin leads the overall series 63-62 with 8 ties. I love these games, and this one shouldn't be any different. Wisconsin needs it to become bowl eligible, so I'll take the Badgers, -2 at home in Madtown. Louisville and West Virginia in the semifinals tomorrow for the Battle of Atlantis, because West Virginia just took out Gonzaga, and Louisville took out Indiana. Hit them both. You're welcome. Wait, hang on. I hit them both, right?
Hoo-ah!
That's right. There's one. One more time, Al.
Hoo-ah!
There you go. Just got to make sure, right? Noon Eastern on Big Fox in Boise on Saturday on the Smurf turf. 11th ranked Boise State is a 19.5-point home favorite versus Oregon State, and the total's 56.5. Boise is in complete control of their own destiny, and a win on Friday and a next week's conference title game will send them to the college football playoff. OSU's lost 5 straight before their upset win over Washington State last week. I like Boise a lot and don't like the Beavers' defense. So usually I wouldn't lay this type of number, but I have no choice here. Boise -20.5. They got too much to lose. 3:30 Eastern on ABC at the Grove in Oxford. 15th ranked Mississippi's a 26-point home favorite versus the 2-9 Mississippi State, and the total 61.5 in the 121st Golden Egg Bowl. Ole Miss's chances of getting to the SEC Championship and the CFP took a major hit with their loss last week at Auburn, right? In yet another one of my winners.
Hoo-ah!
There are so many of them. Just get used to hearing that, because you're going to hear that a lot, especially when I get to the NFL. You're welcome. MSU is a total mess, and they've been slapped around all season. But these rivalry games are crazy. So in the battle of Hotty Toddy versus Hale State, I like MSU on the road catching 26 actually. 26 even. 3:30 Eastern on CBS Sports Network at Elliott T. Bowers Stadium in Huntsville. 8-2 Liberty is a 3-point road favorite at 8-3 Sam Houston State, and the total's 47.5. Liberty still has a shot to reach Conference USA Championship game next week versus Jacksonville State with a win. And Sam Houston gets in with a win and a Western Kentucky loss. Liberty's won 3 straight and is playing better offensively right now, so give me the Flames. Liberty, lay the field goal. 7:30 Eastern on NBC at Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City. Stop and wave to the children, the Children's Hospital. 7-4 Iowa is a 5.5-point home favorite over 6-5 Nebraska, and the total's 39.5. Iowa's won 3 out of 4, while Nebraska snapped their 4-game losing streak by beating up Wisconsin last week. In what? Another one of my winners.
Hoo-ah!
Keep them coming, Al. Just keep them loaded, ready to go. You're welcome, by the way. Iowa's tougher, but Nebraska can battle. Hawkeyes get the win, but Nebraska gets the cover. Huskers +5.5. 7:30 Eastern on Black Friday on ABC between the hedges in Athens. 6th-ranked Georgia's a 19.5-point home chalk versus 7-4 Georgia Tech, and the total's 54.5 in the 118th meeting of one of my favorite rivalry game names, clean, old-fashioned hate. I love it. It doesn't get any better than that. There's 100 miles of hate which is down here in the South, between Western Kentucky and Middle Tennessee, but clean, old-fashioned hate. These schools are separated by 70 miles and on average about 100 SAT points. Let's face it, Georgia's won 6 straight in the series and 5 of 6 this season, while Tech has won 2 straight after losing 2 back in October. Georgia's already clinched the spot in Atlanta in next week's SEC championship game, but they need this one to all but guarantee a spot in the playoff. Tech has had some tough losses, but they're still dangerous. Another rivalry, another big number, another dog. I'll take Tech and all those points. Moving on to Saturday, we'll get it started at noon Eastern on ESPN at Memorial Stadium in Death Valley, where 12th ranked Clemson's a 2.5-point home favorite versus number 16 South Carolina, and the total set at 49.5 in the 122nd Palmetto Bowl. Clemson's won 3 straight and still has a shot at the ACC championship game this week if Miami loses in Syracuse. South Carolina has been red hot, and they've ripped off 5 straight. This has always been a good series, but this could be a great one. I like Clemson's talent and coaching, but I love USC's toughness. South Carolina, plus 2.5 with a sprinkle.
Sprinkle me, Mike. Sprinkle.
You got to. Thanks, Earl. Noon Eastern on Big Ten Network at Wrigley Field in the Windy City. 22nd ranked Illinois is a 7.5-point favorite versus 4-7 Northwestern, and the total's 44.5 in the 118th battle for the Land of Lincoln Trophy. Back in Wrigley Field again on a shitty track where injuries are almost certain, Illinois dominates here as Northwestern is just simply overmatched. I'll take the Illini minus 7.5. Noon Eastern on Big Fox at the Horseshoe in Columbus. Second-ranked Ohio State is a 21-point home favorite versus 6-5 Michigan, and the total's 43.5 in the two schools' 120th meeting. Yes, there's no official name for this rivalry, right? And I will not call it what the fans and the media call it, because that ain't it. It doesn't have a name, right? It's not that big of a deal this year, though it could be if Michigan pulls off a stunner. Since that won't happen, OSU rolls. But Michigan is the play here, catching 3 touchdowns. My only concern is Ryan Day trying to run up the score to try and make up for the last 3 losses to Jim Harbaugh, but I'm still taking Michigan. Saturday, noon Eastern on SEC Network at Kroger Field in Lexington. Louisville and Kentucky meet for the Governor's Cup, as Louisville's a 3.5-point road favorite at 4-7 Kentucky, and the total's 48.5. Louisville's won 3 out of 4, while Kentucky's lost 5 out of 6. Crazy things seem to happen in this game, but not this time. Louisville is better and more dynamic offensively. Louisville minus 3.5. Noon Eastern on ABC at First Bank Stadium, right up the road here, Music City. 7th-ranked Tennessee and Vanderbilt meet up for the 119th time. Tennessee is an 11-point road favorite at 6-5 Vanderbilt, and the total's 48.5. Now that UT is out of the SEC title game, a win here would almost certainly get them into the college football playoff. Yeah, Vandy's lost 2 in a row and 3 out of 4, but they've been a covering machine all season. Anchor down, Vandy plus 11. 3:30 Eastern on ESPN at the Dome in Syracuse. 8th-ranked Miami is a 10.5-point road favorite at 8-3 Syracuse, and the total 67.5. For Miami, it's simple. Win, and you take on SMU next week in the ACC championship game. A win there, and you're in the playoff. The problem is that Miami hasn't beaten anybody all year. And even a win here wouldn't prove much, as Syracuse has 3 head-scratching losses. Both teams can score, and neither team plays any defense. Back off the side, fire on the over. I don't care who wins, just give me over 67.5, as these two will light up the scoreboard early and often. 3:30 Eastern on Big Ten Network at Beaver Stadium in Happy Valley. 4th-ranked Penn State's a 23.5-point home chalk versus 4-7 Maryland, and the total's 50.5. Maryland's a mess, and they lost 4 straight, while Penn State beats everyone except for Michigan and Ohio State. Stop me if you've heard that before. Lay 'em here. Penn State minus 23.5. 3:30 Eastern on Big Fox at Arizona Stadium in Tucson. 14th ranked Arizona State is an 8.5-point road favorite at 4-7 Arizona, and the total's 53.5 in the 98th Duel in the Desert, with the winner taking home the Territorial Cup. State advances to the Big 12 title game next week with a win, and they come in having won 4 in a row. Zona's lost 6 of 7 and is just outgunned here. But I've been to 2 Territorial Cups, and they're always tough. ASU can make a big-time statement in their inaugural season in the Big 12, which has already surprised everyone. And I hit with them last week. Al?
Hoo-ah!
You're welcome. You're welcome. I hit with them last week. I'll hit with them again this week. ASU minus 8.5. 3:30 Eastern on CBS at the Coliseum in La La Land. 5th-ranked Notre Dame is a 7-point road favorite at 6-5 Southern Cal, and the total's 51.5 in the 95th meeting for the jeweled Shillelagh Trophy. Love it. A win for the Irish puts them in the CFP, and a loss may also keep them in. But they can't leave that to chance since they have the worst loss of any team in the top 20. SC has not been very good, and the Irish have won 7 in a row, with 6 of them being blowouts. Here, make it 7. Irish minus 7. 3:30 Eastern on ABC at Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa. 13th ranked Alabama is an 11.5-point home favorite versus Auburn, and the total's 53 in the 89th Iron Bowl. After Bama's blowout loss in Norman last week, the natives are getting restless in Tuscaloosa, but that's common when a legend retires. Kalen DeBoer is a good coach who's being treated unfairly, while Auburn has inexplicably won 3 out of 4. Since I don't dare touch the side, I'll take the Iron Bowl 89 under 53. 3:30 Eastern on ESPN2 at Gerald J. Ford Stadium in the Big D. 9th-ranked Southern Methodist is a 13.5-point home favorite versus 6-5 Cal, and the total's 56.5. SMU is already in the ACC championship, but a loss here would probably knock them out of the playoff. Cal's won 3 out of 4, and SMU has won 8 in a row. I hit with SMU last week, and I hit with Stanford covering at Cal.
Hoo-ah!
Yep. That's 2 of them, right?
Hoo-ah!
Oh, yeah. Something like that.
Hoo-ah!
Oh, boy, shit, I'll just keep them coming, you know. SMU wins this game, but Cal covers, right? Give me Cal plus 13.5. Big number. 7:30 Eastern on ABC at Kyle Field in College Station. 3rd-ranked Texas and 20th-ranked Texas A&M meet for the 119th time. But the first time in 13 years, right? Where Texas is a 5.5-point favorite at Texas A&M, and the total's 48.5 in the Lone Star Showdown. The winner of this game goes to Hotlanta next week to take on Georgia for the SEC title. Texas has won 4 straight, and A&M's lost 2 out of 3. Neither side has quality wins, so I'm going to roll with the dog here. A&M catching 5.5. 8 Eastern, God, Auburn's up 15. 5 minutes left in the first. It's way too early to say you're welcome, but, it's starting to reach that point. 8 Eastern on ACC Network at Lane Stadium in Blacksburg. 5-6 Virginia Tech is a 7.5-point home favorite versus 5-6 Virginia, and the total's 48.5 in the 105th Commonwealth Clash. Both schools come in not playing very well, as Tech has dropped 3 straight, while UVA has lost 4 out of 5. With a bowl berth on the line for the winner, along with the Commonwealth Cup, Tech is the better team. But I'm on the Cavs here. Give me Virginia plus 7.5. Saturday night, 10:15 Eastern on ESPN at Lavelle Edwards Stadium in Provo. Number 14, Brigham Young is a 12.5-point home favorite versus 4-7 Houston, and the total's 41.5. BYU still has a shot at the Big 12 championship game that is very complex, and they need a lot of help to get there. Auburn by 20 right now. Fans are going nuts. Let's hear it. Just dominating. Sounds like me and my picks. You're welcome. Just dominating. It's what I do, right? Houston has looked really bad, and they've looked bad a lot, and they've looked pretty good sometime. The Cougars are the better team. Well, that doesn't make any sense because they're both Cougars. I didn't even think about that. BYU's the better team, and they're going to get the win. Fairly easy, especially at home, but I'm still on Houston here. Give me Houston catching 12.5 on the road. My 5-game winning streak in the Degenerate Special came to a halt last week as USC and their punk asses came from behind to clip UCLA and drop me to 8-5-1 on the season for, which is nice. This week's late night get right goes at 11 p.m. Eastern on Spectrum at the TC Ching Complex in Stony Lulu, where 5-6 New Mexico is a 2.5-point road favorite at 4-7 Hawaii, and the total 61.5. New Mexico's feeling themselves right now after back-to-back wins over San Diego State and Washington State, while Hawaii has lost 2 in a row. The forever rule has always been that schools from the mainland don't play well on Oahu. But with a bowl berth on the line for the Lobos, I'm going to take New Mexico here, -2.5 to close out the week and the regular season in college football. That's 2 on Thursday, 7 on Friday, 15 on Saturday, for a grand total of 24 college football plays a week before conference championships take over next week. Now let's dive into Week 13, NFL Sunday, and let's get it hopping at 1 Eastern on CBS at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Hotlanta, where the 7-4 Chargers are 1.5-point road favorites at the 6-5 Falcons, and the total's 47.5. The Chargers' 4-game win streak was halted by the Ravens on Monday night in another one of my many winners.
Hoo-ah!
That's right. You're welcome. J.K. Dobbins is out now for the Chargers, right? The Falcons lost 3 out of 5, but the combination of the Chargers on a short week, Dobbins is out, and the Falcons getting some home cooking in Hot Town has me jump on the Falcons at +1 point in a chunk with a sprinkle.
Sprinkle me, man.
Thanks, 40. Sunday, 1 Eastern on CBS at the Jungle in the Queen City. 4-7 Houston's a 3-point home favorite over 8-3 Pittsburgh, and the total's 47. The Bengals have lost 3 out of 4. Their season is in ruins, yet they're favored over the second or third best team in the AFC. The Steelers were on a roll until they were caught from behind in the snow last week in Cleveland. Trap City, USA, right in front of us. Everyone bets Pittsburgh and the books get paid, right? Not for me, though. Give me the Bengals at home and lay the field goal. 1 Eastern on Fox at US Bank Stadium in Stoneapolis. The 9-2 Vikings are a 4-point home favorite versus 6-5 Arizona, and the total's 45.5. Mini rebounded from a loss to the Rams a month ago by winning 4 straight against some really bad teams, while the Cards' 4-game win streak also was halted in the rain of Seattle on Sunday in yet another one of my winners.
Hoo-ah!
Yeah, you're welcome. Attaboy. After 3 straight road games, all wins, the Vikings are thrilled to be back home. Minnesota -4. 1 Eastern on CBS at Gillette Shaving Cream Stadium in Foxborough. 5-7 Indianapolis is a 2.5-point road favorite at 3-9 New England, and the total is set at 42.5. Indy's season has gone up in flames after losing 4 out of 5, while New England has been one of the worst teams in the NFL all season. At 3 or 3.5, I might like New England, but for now, I'm on the Colts -2.5. 1 Eastern on Fox at Snoopyville in New Jersey. 6-5 Seattle's a 2-point road favorite at the 3-8 Jets, and the total's 41.5. Seattle's season has been resuscitated after back-to-back wins over San Francisco and Arizona, while the Jets are and have been a mess all season. The Aaron Rodgers experiment has been the worst trade/acquisition this millennium, right? Rodgers is an unmitigated disaster. Got his head coach, offensive coordinator, and general manager all fired. and he took a team with Super Bowl aspirations to a complete rebuild coming this offseason without Rodgers. Yeah, Seattle's the play here, -2. 1 Eastern at Northwest Stadium in Landover. 7-5 Washington's a 5.5-point home favorite versus 3-8 Tennessee, and the total's 44.5. Washington was lucky last month in their Hail Mary win over Chicago, but they've only beaten the Giants since then, and they've lost 3 straight after losing at home to a bad Dallas team playing without their best player. That's an ouch. Tennessee has been a train wreck all season, but opened some eyes by winning in Houston on Sunday. But can they be trusted? No, can't trust it. I missed that one. But at 5.5, I'll take them as Jaden Daniels continues to struggle. 1 Eastern on Fox at Everbank Stadium in Duval County. The 7-5 Texans are 5-point road favorites at 2-9 Jacksonville, and the total's 43. Ooh, this one's a stinker. Houston's lost 3 out of 4. Can't beat anyone with a winning record. Lost at home to Tennessee last week, and C.J. Stroud has regressed in his sophomore season. But the good news for the Texans is the Jags are a catastrophe. I can't, in good conscience, come up with one good reason to back the Jags here. Sorry, Jack. I'm on H-Town, -5. 4 Eastern on Fox at the Superdome in the Big Easy. The 5-6 Rams are 3-point road favorites at the 4-7 Saints, and the total's 48.5. The Ram Chops have lost 2 out of 3 to be exactly what their record says they are, a losing team. The Aints have somehow won 2 straight and had last week off to get healthier. The NFL and the media need the Rams here, not the Saints, but I don't give a shit. I'm on Nolans here. Catching 3 at home with a sprinkle. Tell him.
Sprinkle me, man.
Attaboy. Sunday, 4 Eastern on Fox at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. 5-6 Tampa Bay is a 6-point road favorite at the 3-8 Panthers, and the total's 46.5. Tampa's 4-game losing streak is gone after punishing the Giants in New Jersey on Sunday, while Carolina may be 3-8, but they've covered 3 straight, including putting the fear of God into Kansas City last weekend. I'll stick with the hot hand here right now and stick with Bryce Young, who's playing well. While I think the Bucs win, the Panthers get the cover, catching 6 at home. 4:25 Eastern on CBS at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore. We got a good one, as the 8-4 Ravens are 3-point home favorites versus 9-2 Stoniecast, and the total's 51. The Ravens have won 3 out of 4 after a really impressive beatdown of the Chargers on Monday night.
Hoo-ah!
Yeah, another one of my winners. You're welcome. The Eagles have won 7 in a row and starting to steamroll teams. The short week and a cross-country trip doesn't do Baltimore any favors, so I'll dance with the Eagles here. Catching 3 with a sprinkle. Earl, sing it for me now.
Big timer, big timer. Body water. Sprinkle me, man.
That's right. The pride of Vallejo. I hit the Eagles last Sunday over the Rams to get to 7-5 on the season, while I've been waiting all day for Sunday night. Shout out Carrie and her legs. Ooh. This Sunday night at 8:20 Eastern at Highmark Stadium in Buffalo, the 9-2 Bills are 7-point home favorite versus the 5-6 49ers, and the total's 45.5. The Bills are cruising and fighting for the AFC's top seed as Josh Allen is becoming a major player in the MVP conversation, while the 49ers are a catastrophe and still have not beaten a team with a winning record. The Bills had last week to get off. They were off last week. What was I trying to say? They had last week off to get healthy. And now they're basking in the glow of their win over the Chiefs 2 weeks ago, and they're going to win this one easily. The Niners are logging big miles after getting thumped in Green Bay last week. Bills -7. Finally, Monday night at 8:15 Eastern on ESPN at Mile High in Denver. The 7-5 Broncos are 5.5-point home chalk versus the 3-8 Cleveland Browns, and the total's 42. Denver simply beats up on the dregs of the NFL. Their only 2 losses in their last 6 games have been to Baltimore and Kansas City, but they're rolling it up against Carolina, Las Vegas, to name a couple. Cleveland's bad, right? But they're not that bad. I hit with them last Thursday in their win over Pittsburgh in the snow. Al?
Hoo-ah!
Yeah, something like that. That's what it sounded like. You're welcome. I'll roll with the Brownies again here, catching 5.5 on the road to close out the week. That's all 16 NFL plays to go along with 24 college football, 19 college hoops. That's 50 plays that that's fine. But with daily college hoops, again, we're just going to keep going. The numbers are going to keep rising all season, right? So prepare yourselves, right? Make sure to check back in the comments section for daily hoops picks. And check back next Wednesday as Stoniecast 154 will be coming at you. So until then, just remember that if you want to win big, you got to bet big. You can't go broke taking a profit. Scared money don't make money. For me, the action is the juice. The difference between winning and making money is that anyone can win betting chalk, but you can't make money unless you take the dogs. Would you rather win or would you rather make money? Big difference. Think about it. There's money on the streets that can't be ignored. And finally, good luck to you. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Pay him.
What was that?
Pay that man his money.
Yeah, something like that. Peace out, all.